Football is life. Welcome to All Talk, All USL Talk. USL got the latest scores, news, and developments in the second highest division, United States men's professional soccer system, the USL Championship. I'm your host, as always, Vince Galvano. Happy Monday. May 18, episode 89 of Talk USL, episode 13 of season 3. More numbers to throw out at all you guys and gals on this Monday, 24. How about that? What does that mean? Well, 24 days until we kick off the FIFA World Cup. I'm serious. I'm looking at the countdown right now. It's insane. I already got my sticker book. I got the Panini stickers. I did it during the Euros 2 years ago, so now we're doing it for 2026. We've been collecting everything. Just collected Aluminium Mall the other day. Got pumped up about it. So draining my wallet into that, but really enjoying a little bit of the anticipation, the build-up. And we have the tournament cup action to discuss this episode because it wasn't the typical USL Championship Saturdays and weekends. We were back with round 2, and for some teams, round 1 of the USL, the Prince Tires USL Cup here in 2026. For the most part, things went pretty well for some USL sides, especially Phoenix. Young guys still keep showing up in these tournament matches. I don't know what's in the water over there with Pamaduka, always being able to motivate the youngsters over there. Colorado won big. We had some USL intra-conference, clashes, talking Colorado, New Mexico. Oakland took on Sacramento. Brooklyn took on Hartford. Miami took on Tampa, right? But then we also had some interesting matches take place between the USL League One sides and USL Championship sides. Things did not go as planned for the likes of, we can say Monterey Bay. That was crazy what happened in Idaho. But then things went to plan for the likes of, Charleston and so forth. So we'll see. Much more matches to talk about. But I mentioned at the beginning of the show, 3 words: football is life. It has been official. Came out earlier last week, we can really say at this point. Cristo Fernández, who portrays Dani Rojas from Apple TV's hit show Ted Lasso, a show that took off big time in the COVID area. It was sort of that sweet joy that we had, a little bit of hope in dark times given to us by none other than Jason Sudeikis after what was just, a prompt for commercial sponsoring back in the mid-teens for NBC moving to NBC getting the rights for the Premier League. He came on, Ted Lasso, then turned into this huge, successful, Grammy-winning show that has already done 3 seasons with Bill Lawrence, out of all people, who did Scrubs. I'm watching his shows right now, Shrinking on Apple TV as well. You have Rooster that just came out, Steve Carell, a great show if you haven't seen it. A guy that knows what the contemporary landscape of television is, especially when it comes to comedy, and what a show it was. Now one of the stars that had soccer potential, Dani Rojas, Cristo Fernández, he has signed his professional contract with Paso Locomotive. We talked about him earlier on in this 3rd season of Talk USL because he was on trial with El Paso. He was also on trial with the second team for Chicago Fire. There was clips of that, but it kind of just dissipated, and now more than 2 months later, Fernandez has officially signed after training with the club since then, aiming to prove worthy of a professional deal. There's now a feeling of eagerness to have him on board. I think, it was a big featurette in the Rondo, the official USL newsletter by Nicholas Murray, putting out the question, what can we expect from El Paso Locomotive signing Cristo Fernández, the guy who has portrayed Dani Rojas? And it was slightly surreal for also fellow forward Rubio Rubin of the team, because he had said this past week, he goes, quote, "I remember watching Ted Lasso with my wife a year or 2 ago. We didn't even think Cristo would be with us, be on the same team." End quote. He's been also such a cool guy, integrated well in the group. He's been pushing a lot in the past month or 2 with the guys, and we wish him the best. We're happy that he's finally signed so we can get past the noise of if he's signed or not, what he's doing here on trial or not. We're just happy that he's part of the team, and we're going to help him hopefully get on the field. So after arousing that speculation in the preseason that kind of dissipated, Fernandez finally announced this past Tuesday that he has signed for El Paso and so forth. So a unique storyline to Locomotive's journey this season and to the USL Championship campaign. Wall to wall, understandably, Fernandez's arrival in El Paso has drawn far broader coverage than your average signing in the USL Championship. Obviously, as one of the stars for a Grammy-winning show such as Ted Lasso. He was a well-liked figure, funny guy on the show, and it was popping up, this past week on entertainment news sites, some sporting ones. So before his pursuit of an acting career, Fernández did want to be a professional soccer player. He did compete in the academy program of former Liga MX side Tecos FC before injuries in his late teens just derailed his path. So now it's his second chance, breakthrough role as a fictional soccer player. And then, boom, Fernández connected with figures inside the soccer world, among them El Tri legend Andrés Guardado, who's had a great career, one of the best Mexican players of all time. Really enjoyed watching him from Real Betis when he was playing over there in La Liga. So his longevity at the top level of the game has been a marvel of its own. So still feeling the itch to see if he can play. Last year, Fernández began to work individually with some performance coaches at the 2025 CONCACAF Nations League finals in Los Angeles. He also connected with current Locomotive head coach Junior Gonzalez, and that, my friends, opened the door to the opportunity this past spring in El Paso. So some serious business from the outside. It would be easy to be cynical about this move, but Fernández and the club are adamant that this move is designed to bolster the club's lineup. He had told ESPN.com this past week, quote, "I understand the pressure, but I guess there's always been pressure, even in anything I've done in my life. I think of myself as a hardworking man, and I have never been the best at anything, but I always give my best and work hard for it." End quote. Pressure makes diamonds, we can say, right? Having made the move, there's also going to be pressure on Locomotive as well as Fernández. To prove this isn't just a public relations PR stunt, we could say. Having followed Gonzalez's approach to leading the club with interest in his appointment this offseason, and the club did have a strong overall start to the season, which sees it at the moment in the top four in the Western Conference, and a winner in the Prinks Tires USL Group Cup opener. So it's a move made with Ryan Touches. This is not a bottom of the table side that Cristo Fernández is signing for. It's a serious contender, and they'll also most likely be making the playoffs after what was a great season last year for El Paso as well. But we have to consider, upon his signing, and this is put out there, the age. 35 years old, immediately becoming the oldest player on El Paso Locomotive's roster, the fifth oldest in the USL Championship. So, with that in mind, keep our expectations to a bit of a lull for the time being. He won't be taking the spot of Rubin or Armando Moreno in the starting lineup anytime soon, with Locomotive already boasting some of the best attack in the league campaign so far. But at some point, Cristo Fernández, Dani Rojas will see action and get the chance to show what he's got. That earliest day, by the way, where it's possible, in case you want to make sure to record it or put it on the TV and so forth, keep your eyes and ears open, is Wednesday, May 27, when Locomotive hosts USL League One club AV Alta in its next Prinks Tires USL Cup contest. That'll be at Southwest University Park, giving the remaining paperwork time to get processed. Whatever happens from here, Fernández is committed to his new role, and Locomotive is committed to his success. I was listening a bit more to what other podcasts were saying. Obviously, one of the big podcasts is each week on Tuesday, SiriusXM does USL All Access. Mike Watts, who works for the league and so forth, is part of that. He discussed it was a surprise signing. He had said, regarding the club's motivation, he had said, quote, "Would the league bring in a guy like Freddie Adu 5 years ago and drop him in Las Vegas and say, wow, look at this. Isn't this a great sideshow?" Probably. Is Junior Gonzalez in El Paso doing that? He doesn't really think so. Mike Watts doesn't think so. And he further clarified his stance on the player's potential, adding, he's not just saying that Cristo is going to come in and make a major impact, but not saying that he won't embarrass himself or the sport either. And we also don't know. He made a good point in mentioning this, that we don't know what the extent of the contract is. Is it till the end of the season? Is it another month-long contract? We've seen 28-day contracts before, 2-week contracts before in the USL Championship. So I know back when Freddie Adu played in the league, it was in Las Vegas back in 2018. He had made, I think, a total of 14 USL appearances. He scored 1 goal for Las Vegas Lights. He also broke a 3-year scoring drought, scoring that first goal for the club in that 4-1 win over Colorado Springs many, many moons ago. Statistically, his Vegas stint, Freddie Adu here, was limited rather than spectacular, but it did show he could still contribute at the USL level. So let's see what happens here. But I had said we would keep tabs on this, and then it just kind of died down, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I'm trying to find nothing really. I guess it just didn't happen. Or is he going maybe down to League 2 or to a 5th division side in the USL structure or in the United States? And then, boom, this just happened. So let's see what happens, and we will keep our tabs on that. Should mention also that popped up quite recently. This is from The Athletic, reporting that, for the USL, we have to keep in mind June 1st is a big day because Paul McDonough is stepping in as president and CEO starting that date. Alec Papadakis, who has been CEO since 2009 of USL, helped build what was, what is known right now as the modern USL structure, is going to be stepping into moving into a board co-chair role with Paul McDonough taking over as president and CEO, which is quite big. I mean, there's going to be a lot of handshakings behind the scenes as all these federations, as well as FIFA, come in to the United States with, legit teams taking training grounds and facilities of USL sides while they're staying here. We talked about Australia in Oakland. We talked about the United States men's national team in Irvine, in Orange County. So, this is a big step. He's going to be the face that runs the place, so to speak. So it's not a quiet period at all. We also know we're on the cusp of introducing promotion relegation for the first time in United States sports, really, growing the expansion pipeline to other clubs across the board, whether in South America, Central America, Europe, Asia, and so forth. So, the real question is, can this new leadership team actually execute the biggest vision USL has ever put forward? Because ideas are one thing. USL Premier, obviously, we know sound exciting, but you have new stadiums, new markets, new owners, right? And you have to be weary of this. This league is not just talking about stability, it's talking about ambition, hierarchy, a true national soccer pyramid. So absolutely worth watching. The Papadakis era built the foundation. Let's hope the McDonough era now has to prove whether USL can take the next step. This guy's background is legit, FYI, for Paul McDonough. He's been involved in USL, becoming the official, president and CEO now on June 1st, but was chief soccer officer before this. His background helped Atlanta United launch the club, build its inaugural roster, sign key players who would later go on to win the MLS Cup in 2018, US Open Cup in 2019. From Inter Miami's side of things, he had served as the chief operating officer and sporting director, helping guide the club from its early phase into the first MLS season, including stadium, training complex worth. He was GM of Orlando City when the club was still in USL Pro before its MLS move, then helped build its initial MLS roster. So he's been around expansion, MLS transitions, roster buildings, player pathways, club infrastructures. So Paul McDonough now being the CEO, official CEO of USL, it's going to matter. This next chapter is not just running the league; it's building something, and he's done it. He's done it before, so let's hope he doesn't do it now again in the future. Just a heads up there. Again, reported by The Athletic. Paul Tenorio, published on May 11th. FYI, just a little heads up of where we're taking this information from. Let's talk goal of the week, and then we're going to talk one of the biggest wins so far of the season, and for any USL Championship club, we're going to talk Sporting JAX. So goal of the week wise. We had 4 contenders, and I'm shocked of who won it because I thought for sure in the New Mexico El Paso Derby del Camino Real, Diego Abitia, who scored a overhead kick with 4 minutes to go, burying his finish to the left corner to earn Locomotive a draw in that derby match. He only had 12% of the vote, so finishing third. Tyrick McGee finished in second with 15% of the vote for the Colorado match against OC back on May 8th. You also had Sam Bassett for Pittsburgh in the match against Lou City, where Pittsburgh won. Second-year pro delivered a nice spectacular strike from long range, but the winner was new signing Tucker Lepley on loan at Oakland. We talked about him last week, right? On May 9th, Lepley made a grand introduction to his debut for the Roots, signing on loan from LA Galaxy, curling home a finish from 25 yards. Beautiful left curler, top left corner to earn a 2-1 victory against El Paso Locomotive at the Coliseum in Oakland. So he came out with 65% of the vote. Oakland fans are legit, and they're always participating in these fan votes. That's for sure. Sarasota Paradise and Sporting JAX. Let's get into the USL Cup action. This was the midweek action on Wednesday. Sporting JAX coming into this cup match still searching for their first men's professional win. They're at Premier Sports Complex on the small road of Florida to Sarasota. And the urgency showed, trying to get a win. The performance was not always smooth. Sarasota Paradise seeing plenty of possession, but didn't turn into any real danger. In the 34th minute, Kieran Sadlier slipped a sharp pass into Rafferty Petter, who drove through the defense and finished to give Sporting JAX the lead. It was Petter's second goal of the season and the club's first goal in Prinks Tires USL Cup play, which is tremendous. Sarasota did push after the break, including a late chance that forced Christian Oliveras into a key save, but JAX managed the game well enough and found the killer second goal late. Emily Escalainen helped start the move. Rito delivered the centering ball, and it was Ahmad Alkak who finished it off to seal a 2-0 win. The first men's professional victory in Sporting JAX history. Cue the applause. First win, first clean sheet. Sporting JAX finally get their moment. It was not a flashy performance. It was professional. They absorbed pressure. They limited Sarasota's best moments. Rafferty's Petter's return from injury mattered immediately, giving JAX attacking quality in the opening goal. And the second goal was classic cup game management. Sarasota pushed for the equalizer, open space, and Sporting JAX punished them through Alkak, who continued a strong start of the season, scoring for his second consecutive match, showing the kind of composure Sporting JAX have been missing in front of goal. So let's see if this actually changes Sporting JAX's season. I hope, Liam Fox will think so. He framed the win as a building block, praising the players for coming through with a clean sheet, 2 goals, composed overall performance. But let's see what happens now. We're recording this at the moment on a Sunday. They take on FC Naples tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern. Excuse me, I'm already giving you the European time here. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens because at the moment they're quite positioned well in the Florida group down there. We'll get into standings later on. We'll make a footnote of that. But recording here on a Sunday, publishing for a Monday. So let's see what happens if this win does garner momentum and JAX can turn to some consecutive points in some competitions, which I'm sure they will need. Let's talk then all the intra-conference matchups. I want to talk first, actually, Brooklyn taking on Hartford and give a little bit of cue to the people out there, a bit of a Easter egg, now that being 17 minutes into the episode. And I might probably mention this at the end of the episode as well, if I recall, after going through all my notes. But we have our second guest pretty much locked and loaded, 95%. I'm touching wood right now. Recording could take place on this Monday. With post-production, I'm hoping to get it out soon. Next week, I'll be on vacation. I'll be away, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to have an episode out next week. I'll be making, check your socials as well. But hopefully, with recording potentially happening tomorrow, I can get some post-production side and with confirmation as well with the agency I've been in contact with. We'll see what a good date could be. I'll propose something when I know I have everything in the lines. But guys and gals, it will be a Brooklyn player. That is as much as I can tell you. Just stay tuned. Really stay tuned. But Brooklyn at the moment start finding some difficulties. They've had an up and down season. Great wins against Charleston, the opening win against Indy 11, then, you had big losses. This is their now second loss against Hartford. They did start with sharper attacking rhythm at home in Miami Nights Park. And this one, Obregon Jr. forced a low save from Siaha in the 7th minute. Okiyoshi narrowly missed from distance moments later. Hartford had brief moments going forward, but Brooklyn carried more of the threat into halftime. Then the pattern did continue after the break. CJ Olney Jr. tested Siaha again in the 40th minute. Brooklyn kept pushing with attacking substitutions from Marlon LeBlanc's side, including Marcus Anderson, Sean Hundal, Jaden Servania. Coming up, but Hartford made its chances count in the 63rd minute. Barry Coffey played Cariaga through the midfield. Cariaga split the defense before finishing to put Hartford ahead. Brooklyn kept knocking. Peter Mangione, Marcus Anderson both forcing saves, and Siaha stood tall in the 86th minute. When Brooklyn were throwing everything but the kitchen sink, on a counter, boom, Engalina put the match away, finishing a half volley they initially controlled pretty much off his shoulder, let it bounce in the box, and just ripped it top corner, top bins, near post side after a setup from Jordan Scarlett. Brooklyn finished with more shots, more corners. Hartford, though, clinical, left New York with a 2-0 cup win. 5-save clean sheet on the night for Anthony Siaha. He was the standout. Some key stops throughout, but 15 shots, 5 shots on goal for Brooklyn. Only 3 shots from Hartford, but making it count most at the moment. USL Cup record 1-0-1, 4 points for Hartford. Brooklyn in the USL Cup 1-1-0, so they have 3 points here. The second all-time meeting between Brooklyn and Hartford, both won by Hartford. We should have mentioned that on Friday, this past Friday, that midfielder Johnny Klein did sign for Brooklyn FC from fellow USL Championship club Monterey Bay FC. Klein will be available for selection. He wasn't available for selection, didn't see the field against Hartford, but he arrives in Brooklyn after having made 29 appearances for Monterey Bay and the Charleston Battery across the 2 campaigns, USL Championship and USL Cup. 26-year-old recorded 2 goals, 2 assists, and approximately 1,500 minutes of action. Split there from sources, Brooklyn FC Communications, Hartford Athletic as well, with regards to a little bit of the game summary and so forth. Let's get into more of the Group 7, the Florida group. Miami taking on Tampa Bay Rowdies. We talked about Miami last time on the USL Cup, saying, hey, this could be an opportunity here to make some waves. They had done well. They played the most games out of any team so far in the competition, and I had said, check this game out against Tampa Bay, because if they get a result there, even a draw, they could look primed to finish in that 1 spot. Well, did not happen. Tampa Bay started like a team that wanted control of Group 7. Big time. 12th minute, Sebastian Cruz finding Luis Perez 30 yards from goal. Perez delivered a gorgeous curling strike off the left post to put the Rowdies in front. Miami struggled to slow Tampa Bay's rhythm, and just before halftime, Charlie Ostrom recycled a half-cleared corner kick into the box. MD Myers volleying it home to go into the break 2-0. The Rowdies didn't waste no time after the restart. 66 seconds into the second half, Dion Akoff whipped in a near post cross. Myers headed in his second of the night. Tampa Bay added another in the 68th minute when Max Schneider finished the back post after a corner sequence, putting the match out of reach. Miami did pull one back in the 80th minute with Rodrigo Costa slipping a clever pass into Mason Tunbridge, who finished low into the corner. But by then, Tampa had already done the damage, closing out a commanding 4-1 win to stay unbeaten, move top of the group. Rowdies roll on as Myers brace powers in this cup statement. Clear attacking standout on the night. His first finish pure striker instinct, taking out of the air, volleying it home, while second showed some strong movement at the near post. From a coaching standpoint, Dominic Cachado emphasized Rowdies' mentality in the cup, saying it is competition they take very seriously. So our Tampa Bay becoming the team to beat in Group 7 right now. Yes, 2 wins from 2. An unbeaten start overall. Dominant road win here. What stands out most in the balance, Tampa Bay can create from open play, punish set piece moments, and control games without needing one single player to carry the attack, but multiple here. So MD Myers now has 4 goals across competitions. Max Schneider scoring his first goal of the year. Mason Tunbridge, the only one who scored Miami's lone goal in this one. And as I mentioned, talked about those 2 wins from Miami's side. Now their first loss. So Miami is, hoping for some favors in what will be its last game. But, for the other teams in the group, they have to still play their third and fourth game. We talk about Jacksonville possibly turning the tide here against FC Naples. So we'll see here. Sarasota Paradise pretty much done here. And, we'll see what happens in that group. Definitely something to be, if you're especially a Florida native, something to keep your eyes on. Oakland taking on Sacramento, a bit of a California matchup here. We pick up, after the break between the two sides. Sacramento did keep pushing after building some momentum in the first half. Blake Wiley entered at halftime and made club history with his 55th appearance as a homegrown player, while Malongo continued to threaten from distance. In the 56th minute, the move finally came together. Tyler Wolff carried possession on the right, shifted inside to his Sacramento teammate Pep Cassis, and Cassis moved it across to Malongo, who whipped it a powerful finish past McIntosh from the left side of the box. Oakland did grow into the match late, finally tested Danny Vitiello around the hour mark, but Sacramento's defense holding firm. Roots nearly stole a point in stoppage time when a late effort rattled the post, but Republic come out of here unscathed and come out with a 1-0 win. Malongo magic keeps Sacramento perfect in cup play. Oakland finishing with only 2 shots on target, not testing Danny Vitiello until around an hour into the matchup, striking that post, like I said, at the end. From a coaching standpoint, Neil Collins managed the second half well. Good substitutions. Bench helped manage the game late. Talking Mark Anthony Kay, Danny Crisostomo, Ryan Spalding, Dominic Vander, all helping to see out this result. The 4th straight away win against Oakland Roots, by the way. And obviously to Blake Wiley out there, setting a new club record for homegrown appearances with 55. So really solid stuff there. Sacramento Republic FC Communications. Let's get into the biggest blowout game, I think we can argue, of the entire weekend. And it's coming in Colorado in this matchup against Colorado and New Mexico, 6,300 in attendance at Winder Field. Really nice atmosphere in Colorado. As we've seen, aggressive side. They could score goals. They've been conceding goals, but did not happen here because Colorado walking away with a 4-0 victory. It started just past the half-hour mark when Jonas Feldberg drove into space in the right, sent a dangerous ball across goal, forcing Kip Keller into an own goal. 3 minutes later, the switchback strike again. Feldberg slips in Yusuke Hanya into the right channel. Hanya finished high into the roof of the net, and the first half surge did not stop there. The 45th minute, Tyrick McGee hammered a long-range shot that Chris Shakes could only parry, and Feldberg was perfectly placed to just meet it nicely in the air on the volley and finish it home to seal the deal. 3 goals in the first half. New Mexico already going into halftime. Chasing the game, switchbacks did cap the night with another goal, as well as Mazureka played a low ball cross for Aiden Rocha in the 81st minute, tapped it home from close range. Discipline, clean sheet, sharp passing, pressure. Colorado Springs walking away with a commanding 4-0 win in the Prix Tires USL Cup. Feldberg fuels switchback statement night for sure. What else can we say? Aiden Rocha scoring off the bench late. 3 goals in 15 minutes. It was dominance. It was a really solid performance, especially because they kept that 0 at the under end of the scoreboard. What can I say about New Mexico? Well, I have other news, maybe kind of off the field, back on the field. New Mexico United announced on last Wednesday, and presenting partner New Mexico True, that they have set up an international friendly with Liga MX club Atlanta FC. The friendly will take place on Wednesday, July 1st at 7:30 p.m. at Rio Grande Credit Union Field at Isotopes Park, the Lab. The contest will mark United's 5th international friendly and 3rd against a Liga MX side. Atlanta FC, for my Spanish colleagues out there, Spanish-speaking Mexican colleagues, I hope I'm saying it right, Atlante FC are set to return to Liga MX for the 2026-27 season after spending the past 12 years in Liga de Expansión MX, the second tier of soccer in Mexico. The side that calls the historic Estadio Azteca in Mexico City home acquired franchise rights from Mazatlan FC and will take their spot in Liga MX starting in August. It is led by former Mexican national team manager Miguel Herrera, who was appointed in April to guide the side at which his coaching career began back in the top flight. A native of Hidalgo, Mexico, Herrera did lead, if you recall, Mexico to the 2014 World Cup, where El Tri would come second in its group before falling to the Netherlands. I remember that game. Iron Robin had a controversial dive in that game in the box that Mexico side was looking keen on beating that Netherlands side in that round of 16, but that penalty changed the tide of the game, and Herrera became what was, those early signs of memes on the internet of his outrageous posture on the sidelines. They had him going Super Saiyan, as well as reactions to the goal. He bled heart on the sleeve kind of guy. So he also led El Tri to the 2015 CONCACAF Gold Cup title, while at the club level, he has twice led sides to the Liga MX titles and 2019, the Campeón de Campeones crown as well. USLChampionship.com staff with the coverage there. Ashley Perslow for Colorado side covering the game summer there. So exciting stuff, especially if you are Mexican, for having the chance to see Herrera in action, organizing a little bit of a preseason match against New Mexico for the new MX side. Good luck to the MX team, Atlante, for returning back into the First Division. Phoenix taking on OC. Phoenix Rising thought they had an early opener through Papamor Boye the 7th minute, but the goal was ruled out for a foul. OC took advantage soon after, breaking forward in the 22nd minute as Bazzini slipped in. Jameer Johnson finished first time in the bottom right corner. Phoenix did answer quickly. 28th minute, Stutenhoff kept the play alive inside the box, laid it off to Jean-Eric Morceau, who drove right and fired a deflected shot into the net for his first Rising goal. From there, the match stayed tight. Both teams trading pressure. The game still hanging in the balance. Deep into the second half, the decisive moment would come in the 69th minute off of a corner kick scramble. Isaiah Ramirez, just 18 years old, reacting quickest, sweeping the ball home with his left foot for his first goal with the club. The place went berserk. Celebrations in the corner, substitutes involved, the whole nine. Orange County pushed late with Chris Haggard forcing a save from Odunze. But Phoenix held on for the 2-1 win. An Academy spark lifting Phoenix as Ramirez was the one delivering the cup winner from a coaching ill Pamuduka Leaning into the youth, we've seen it. It's been a trend so far this season. Phoenix starting 3 current academy players and fielding its youngest starting 11 of the season with an average age of 21.4 years old. So academy becoming a real part of the first team story. It's not just a field good cameo. Ramirez started, scored the winner, impacted this result. We have multiple academy players already contributing this season. So Phoenix is, if you're a young player, you might want to just move over to Phoenix, convince your parents if you're serious about it, because you might get some solid opportunities. Papa Dukas framed the win around culture and long-term growth. He emphasized the importance of the academy, calling it, and quote, the future, and pointing to the need for functioning youth pipeline, especially in the midst of a busy season. 5,527 in attendance at Phoenix Rising Stadium at 38th Street and Washington for this one. And congrats as well to Jean-Eric Morceau for scoring his first Rising goal. Took a result, 6 of 7 home matches in 2026 across all competitions, extending the recent run against USL Championship opposition to 4-1-1 since the 11th of April, the first win of the 2026 USL Cup for them. That was it for intra-conference matchups. Now let's talk about those USL League One sides taking on USL Championship sides. And Charlotte, the big one, stunning Pittsburgh from the spot. Charlotte Independence taking on the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and they pulled off a big USL Cup moment, beating the defending USL champions 4-2 on penalties after a 1-1 draw in regulation. Charlotte started brightly. They opened the scoring when Christy Manzinga reacted into the box, finished from close range after Enzo Martinez's effort was blocked. Pittsburgh pushed back late, 81st minute, 2 substitutes combined. Dikwa crossed from the right for Jorge Garcia to finish the near post, but in the shootout, Charlotte held its nerve. Goalkeeper Matt Levy making 2 saves to secure the extra point. And that's it. Matt Levy delivering the decisive performance, saving 2 penalties, including the clinching stop on Robbie Mertz in the 5th round. Charlie All also missed from the spot. Bassett didn't make it from the spot. Albert Dikwa didn't make it from the spot. But for Charlotte's side, all 4 scorers, Alvarez, Bacaro, Romero, and Maru, getting on the board in the shootout. What a win for Charlotte in this one. 2 points, 1 point for Pittsburgh, as we know how it goes. Penalty kick shootout win. Portland Hearts of Pine taking on Rhode Island. Talk about this one. Hearts of Pine delivering a New England Cup set at Fitzpatrick Stadium. It earned a massive 2-1, 6,300 in attendance. It was pretty much sold out in Portland, Maine. At the Fitzy, Portland came flying out. Mateo Kidd opened the scoring the 30th minute from an Ollie Wright ball across the box. The Hearts doubled the lead in the 27th minute after Barbosa was brought down in the area right, burying the penalty to make it 2-0. Rhode Island pushed hard after halftime. They did pull one back, cutting the deficit in half through Logan Dorsey, who headed in an Amos Shapiro-Thompson corner, but Portland held firm to seal a statement win in this one. Kidd's early goal, giving the Hearts belief and putting Rhode Island under pressure immediately. Hunter Morse was huge for Hearts of Pine. They made 7 saves the night, protecting that lead. What a win for Portland Hearts of Pine. Guys, stick around because we're going to talk about these implications as well as all that when it comes to what it looks like on the standings in the USL Cup. Forward Madison taking on Detroit, but Detroit able to do it, but it's a late one that helps Detroit and Madison, Wisconsin. Detroit, they grabbed a dramatic 1-0 win. It was Haruki Yamazaki who delivered the decisive moment in the 88th minute. It was a red card, by the way, we should mention, in the 77th minute. The match was quite competitive until then, but it was Madison's substitute, Enrique Machasin, who was shown a straight red for an aerial challenge on Maxi Rodriguez, and that just kind of shifted the dynamic a bit, and Yamazaki scored the match winner, producing a stunning 88th minute strike into the top corner to get those 3 points for Detroit City. Richmond Kickers takes on Charleston at City Stadium, and Charleston make no problem with this one. Langston Blackstock opened the scoring in the 20th minute, racing onto a ball over the top from Pakomov, rounding the keeper, finishing from a tight angle. Then it was Colton Swan who doubled the lead before halftime with a confident nutmeg and finish before Miguel Berry added his first goal of the season in the second half. Jeremy Kelly then wrapped it up 4 minutes later, finishing into the open net after some good work from Malik Foster to help him out there. So Charleston staying perfect in Group 6, dominant 4-0 win. They win at City Stadium for the first time in 10 years, making this both a strong cup result and a bit of history as well. Miguel Berry certainly the standout here with a goal and an assist on the night. USL Championship.com staff with the coverage there. Let's talk Chattanooga Red Wolves taking on Birmingham. And it was Birmingham Legion who, earned the extra point in Group 3 action here. McMullen saving the moment as Legion managed to edge Chattanooga. It was a scoreless first half, and then just things opened up after the break. Chattanooga pushed for the opener. Trevor McMullen came up with some key saves to keep Birmingham level. Then, in the 67th minute, Sebastian Saucedo picked out at the back post by Ronaldo Damas and fired Legion in front. Answered, though, 10 minutes later from Chattanooga, Grayson Mercer finishing Omar Hernandez's dangerous cross inside the 60-yard box to force penalties. It was Chattanooga who would go first, off target from Hernandez. Then Tyler Pasher, you would think the person that would score, gets his effort saved, so we're still 0-0 after the first round of penalty kick shootouts. Bentley shoots his off target. Then McCartney scores to give Birmingham the lead. And then Ramos has his saved by McMullen. And then from there on, Saucedo had a goal. Acosta scored for Chattanooga. Hughes' effort for Birmingham was saved. Leyland scored, but it went to Goma to score the match winner, and he sealed the extra point and penalty kick shootout. Trevor McMullen, the man of the match in this one, coming up with some key saves for Birmingham. 1 Knoxville taking on San Antonio. San Antonio climbing to the top of Group 3 in the USL Cup with a win in this one. It was a better first half chance when Santiago Patino forced John Burke into a save in the 19th minute. San Antonio finding the opener, but right before halftime, it was Dimitri Arafiv's outswing corner kick that picked out Santiago Suarez, whose header flew past Burke. 1 Knox pushed for a response after the break, but Richard Sanchez came up big in the 66th minute to deny 1 Knoxville and protect the clean sheet. So set piece quality making the difference in this one. Santiago Suarez living the match-winning moment. And there you have it. San Antonio getting the 1-0 win on the road at Covenant Health Park. Fort Wayne taking on Indy 11. Indy able to survive late in this one, we could say. It was a good back and forth matchup. Indy started sharp, forcing Briscoe into some early saves from Fort Wayne's side of things before Aiden Quinn forced his way through the Fort Wayne defense, finished the second attempt at 26 minutes. Tig Healy answered in the 33rd, scoring his 5th goal in 5 straight games after pouncing on a spilled save that Indy went back in front in the 64th minute when Bruno Rendon bundled home from close range. And Fort Wayne, though, refusing to fade deep into stoppage time. Jack Thomas driving forward, firing from the outside of the box to make it 2-2, send the match into penalties. And Indy's experience showed in the shootout, converting through the likes of Jack Blake, Quinn, Josh O'Brien, while Fort Wayne missing twice. So there you have it. I think he missed pretty much 3 times. Healy missed his, Nieto had his saved, and Thomas shot off target. So only 3 penalty kicks needed for Indy to walk out with the extra point. Then we had 2 more to talk about before previews and so forth. It was Corpus Christi taking on Tulsa. Second half substitute Remy Cabral scoring the lone goal of the match in the 80th minute. And Alex Tambakis recorded 4 saves to lead Tulsa to a 1-0 win over Corpus Christi. The reigning USL Championship Western Conference title holders were all over their League One opponents to start the match. Corpus Christi goalkeeper Logan Erb, acquired on loan from Houston Dynamo, we should mention only a week prior, called to make 5 saves in the first half to keep the home side in it. But they would grow a little bit better into the match, and they had a great chance to score in the 20th minute. But Tambakis came off his line to deny Jake Keegan. The rebound fell kindly to Andrew Booth, whose shot was saved by Tambakis again. And then substitutes for the Citadels, they prevailed. Cabral received a first-time through pass from Weber on the assist dribble beyond the onrushing Erb and slot home to win. Claim all 3 points for the visitors, taking them to second place in Group 3 after round 2. Then we got to talk about Boise storming back. It was a 7-cup thriller in Idaho. Athletic Club Boise produced a wild second half comeback. 7,200 fans at the stadium in Expo, Idaho. Monterey Bay were the team that flew out of the gates with Eduardo Blancos curling home a 25-yard free kick in the 9th minute before Wesley Leggett doubled the lead in the 20th. So they had a 2-0 victory, pretty much set up. Just had, 60-plus minutes to play. And it was Kostishin who pulled one back for Boise. Chris Kevin Nadje restored Monterey Bay's 2-goal cushion before halftime, 3-1 going to second half, and then the surge came on. Dominic Gasso smashed one in off the bar in the 51st. Jake Krull heading home the equalizer 4 minutes later, and after Monterey Bay went down to 10 men It was Thomas Among who grabbed the 86th minute winner. True resilience from Boise. Monterey Bay's red card to Nico Gordon, shifting the late momentum. Boise punishing them through Among's winner. And some player performance, might remember this name, but Blake Bodley was quietly massive for Boise, assisting Custy Shin's first half goal and then delivering the cross for Prule's equalizer in the second half. I always loved Blake Bodley as a player whenever I watched him for Tampa in previous seasons in the USL Championship, but he's down there playing at the USL League One now. But hey, there's some other players we should mention that came in from Boise's side of things. Jared Masola, the former Sacramento Republic keeper, on loan at the moment from Las Vegas, playing for Boise. And also, if you recall, for Las Vegas side of things, Charlie Adams, former captain, playing center midfield for Boise. So you have some solid former USL Championship players that make up the side. But from Monterey Bay's side of things, man, it gets, goes from bad to worse, and still searching for their first win of their 2026 campaign. I'm talking legit win, not just in penalty kicks. 3 points, something on the board, still has yet to happen. And that's after even changing their coach, we talked about recently with Covello over Stewart. So let's talk elsewhere. FC Naples versus Sporting JAX taking place tonight. I got to pull out the standings right now in the USL Cup. Take a look at all these standings. Talking about Group 7, the Florida groups of Sporting JAX, fresh off their first victory of their franchise history. They take on an FC Naples side who had lost the first time around against Miami FC 4-1 back in late April. So Sporting JAX, as you know, need 3 points in this one to really make a run for it and possibly be in contention for making it through to the quarterfinals. Remember, there's 7 groups in the USL Cup. The first place team of each group goes through to the next round, and then it's the best second place team, tiebreakers being obviously points, but goals scored as well. So keep that in mind. At the moment, Group 7, Tampa Bay Rowdies, with 2 matches played, 2 wins. All right? So they find themselves top of Group 7, 6 points, because goal difference, scored 6 goals, only conceded 1 plus 5. Miami FC have the same amount of points as Tampa Bay Rowdies, but they played an extra game. They lost that extra game. Lost to Tampa Bay. So they find themselves in second place with a chance to maybe clinch second, maybe clinch first, depending how things go. Sporting JAX, third place after 2 matches played, 3 points to the good. See what happened against Naples. I'm recording, again, on a Sunday. The game will take place later on Sunday night, but obviously it's being published on Monday, so keep your eyes peeled for that. FC Naples, we'll see what happens. They need a win, and they need goals in order to be in contention. And then Paradise is pretty much out of it for Sarasota's side of things. Let's get into the other contest, because I'm not also mentioning Union Omaha taking on Lou City. That's taking place tonight while I'm recording, again on Sunday. In a Group 4 that's just filled with a bunch of teams: Lexington, Louisville, Union Omaha, Detroit, Indy 11, Fort Wayne, and Forward Madison. Forward Madison pretty much as good as done after 2 losses, find themselves at the bottom of the group. Forget about them. Fort Wayne, you can pretty much forget about. Indy 11, here's the thing. Indy 11, they have 1 draw with a penalty kick shootout win. We just talked about against Fort Wayne, but they lost first time around. So that could really do the trick. They play a Forward Madison side with nothing to play for come in early June. So let's see what happens with the remaining 2 games from them, but they'll need all wins throughout for sure. Detroit still in contention. Union Omaha won their first game, if you recall. They upsetted Indy 11, which is where they put themselves. Let's see if they upset Louisville. But Louisville at the moment, they had won their first game against Fort Wayne. Lexington won their first game against Forward Madison. So at the moment, how it stands in Group 4, before Louisville taking on Union Omaha, Lexington had the lead because they have most goals scored, despite being on a tie goal differential with Louisville. The other game I need to talk about, Spokane Velocity taking on Las Vegas, part of Group 1 action. Sacramento Republic leading the charge there. 5 goals to the good, no goals conceded. They have 6 points from their opening 2. So they have plus 5 goal differential. Boise, that's right. Boise in Idaho looking primed and possible to even make things more interesting in that group after a draw, which actually beat Las Vegas in their opening game, and obviously the win now over Monterey Bay. They have 5 points. One of the best League One sides at the moment. They are 4th place in League One, I believe. So something to keep an eye out for. And they take on a Spokane Velocity side next. Las Vegas side of things, they had a draw. They lost in the shootout. So now they need to win against Spokane Velocity. They play actually tonight as well. So talking about that. And then Oakland, well, I'm recording again. Sorry. Oakland Roots, the team at the bottom, 2 games, only 1 point from a loss against Monterey Bay and penalties. They're pretty much as good as done. Spokane Velocity will need to win out to get something, but it's a tough group, that group 1. And Boise's looking like a really good side, as well as Sacramento. Sacramento take on Monterey Bay next. I want to see real quick while I have it open from Boise, Idaho's side, who they take on as well in the USL Cup. So they take on Spokane first in their next one, and then the other one remaining will be Sacramento. So again, could be that first position in that match against Sacramento if things go well against Spokane. That'll be very, very interesting. Very interesting. So other groups to talk about. Group 2, Colorado Springs looking high and mighty after 2 games played. Talked about El Paso. They need to take on AV Alta on May 27th. Could be the first time we see Cristo Fernández, a.k.a. Dani Rojas, in action. After only 1 match, they had a win against Orange County, so they find themselves in good position. But Phoenix Rising back in the fold as well. From 0-goal differential, only 2 goals scored. They find themselves in 3rd place, tied on points with New Mexico. New Mexico, though, have only scored 2, conceded 5. -3 goal differential. From AV Alta's side of things, still could be in it if they do well against El Paso and win out. Orange County, pretty much done. Orange County, not the best USL Cup showing from them, and they'll have to focus priorities and shift to the USL Championship. Group 3, San Antonio on top with 5 points to good. A shootout win against Birmingham Legion. And then obviously the most recent win against One Knoxville to take on FC Tulsa next in early June. FC Tulsa are 2nd in the group with 4 points. They lost their penalty kick shootout against One Knoxville, but they did win against Corpus Christi. They take on San Antonio next, like I said. So that look at that match in Group 3. Birmingham Legion, not too bad. 2 draws, 1 winning on the penalty kicks, 1 losing on the penalty kicks. They had 3 points. Same thing with Corpus Christi. They have 3 points, but they have a loss. They won their first match against Chattanooga, but they have a loss to take on Birmingham Legion next. We'll see what happens there. One Knoxville in 5th place, a draw and a loss, so not too good, but they're at least in the draw standpoint, they have 2 points with getting the better of FC Tulsa on penalties. And then Chattanooga, it's tough for them. It's very tough because you didn't win that penalty kick shootout against Birmingham. You do take on a One Knoxville side, so it's a bit of bragging rights and hopefully a higher finish for them if they can get back on track. But it's a really important game for One Knoxville and Chattanooga. They're at the bottom of Group 3. Then we talk Group 4. We talked about already Lexington, Louisville, Union, Omaha, Detroit. So the remaining group is including the defending champions of 2025 USL Cup, Hartford Athletic, and they're sitting high and mighty at the moment. They had the penalty kick victory over Rhode Island, and then 0-0 draw. And then obviously taking on Brooklyn, beating Brooklyn away. No goals conceded yet, only 2 goals scored. And then they take on the Cosmos next. Portland Hearts of Pine in 2nd as well with 4 points. So there you go. Yeah, there you have it. They take on Brooklyn next. Brooklyn looking okay, as well as the Cosmos looking okay because they both have 3 points to the good. So at least 1 clear win, 1 clear loss. Still a chance to take it if they went out. Rhode Island, pretty much done, believe it or not, as well as Westchester, pretty much done when you look at group dynamics. Could be tough. They play each other next. So maybe, just maybe, you win another. You could get that 2nd place spot. But from Hartford Athletic side of things, they're not going to let it go. Again, a draw could get a team 2 points if possible. Charleston Battery, the last group we need to talk about, they are sitting high and mighty. And Group 6, 6 points with +5 goal differential. Behind them in 2nd place is Charlotte Independence with 5 points, win and draw. And then you have Pittsburgh in 3rd with a win and a draw as well. But the thing is, Charlotte got the better of Pittsburgh in that penalty kick shootout, so they find themselves in 2nd. Bottom half of that Group 6, pretty much, we'll see what happens. But Loudoun United take on a Richmond kicker side, which is pretty much done. No loss, 2 losses to the good. So Loudoun will need to win out. And Greenville Triumph, who only have 1 game played, one loss with a -3 goal differential. Tough there. But Loudoun has a chance to start creeping up a bit on that Group 6 side of things. And then I'll quickly preview what's ahead for next week when it comes to the USL Championship, because we're back in action in the midweek. Detroit City hosting Miami FC on Wednesday, May 20 at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Then an hour and a half later, you'll have New Mexico hosting Tampa Bay Rowdies. On Friday, May 22nd, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, FC Tulsa hosting Hartford. Then Saturday, May 23rd, we're back in action. USL big time. Obviously, not just midweek action, not just Friday action, but 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 matches on Saturday, May 23rd. Loudoun United kicking things off at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific, hosting Detroit. And that one, an hour later at 7 p.m. Eastern, you'll have Miami FC hosting Louisville City FC. You'll have Indy 11 hosting Lexington Sporting Club. Half an hour later, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, Tampa Bay Rowdies host Phoenix. Rhode Island hosts Brooklyn. Then you'll have at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, San Antonio hosting Sacramento Republic. And at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, New Mexico United hosts Charleston. 10 p.m. Eastern, late games there on Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific. You have Orange County hosting Oakland. Monterey Bay hosting Birmingham Legion. And then at the last game of Saturday, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, Las Vegas host Colorado Springs Switchbacks. And that will do it for us. If you make it to the end of the episode, you are a real one for sure. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I will be away from the keyboard and the microphone next weekend. I'll be in the south of Italy, enjoying a nice little vacation, but also some work that needs to be done while I'm over there. The point is, we'll see what happens with the next episode, whether I'll have the player interview ready by then post-production wise. I have a busy little bit of a week here before I head down south in Italy. So let's see what happens. But I'm hoping that things go well. We get the interview on board. We get post-production and, on all cylinders, and I can put that out as an episode next Monday, a player interview, as opposed to the typical week-to-week rundown action. Guys, it's been a pleasure, as always. Signing off, and all the best. We'll see each other in a while.